which is the one thing I learned through all my research at some point, is we came here as spiritual energies, and we're in a virtual reality suit. And the suit is what gives you taste and vision and smell and touch and pain and feelings and all that. So when your spirit, which is an energy, connects to this remote control robotic virtual suit, you run the suit, and you can use it to create. And you can create heaven on earth, or you can create hell on earth. That's your creation right there. But if you start creating heaven on earth, then you realize why you came here.
Bruce Lipton, welcome on the show, brother. What are you most excited about right now in your life?
I'm most excited about the fact that, A, I have an audience through you, an audience of younger people especially, that are facing a world that is very strange for them. Most of them feeling, yes, out of control, and I have no foothold. I have nothing. I'm just trying to get through all this. And then I'm here because I'm excited to tell them, yeah, just wait, folks. You are the people of the future. And it's so important not to be connected to the world today, because the world today is not sustainable. It's like it takes 1.6 planet Earths to support the civilization today. So right away it says we're overusing the resources of the planet. We can't keep doing this anymore. We don't have an extra 0.6 Earth. And I say, so why is this important? I says, well, it's the lifestyle and the culture and the civilization that we're living in that is actually destroying the environment from underneath our feet right now. And the point about it is very simple, and that is this: you cannot build a sustainable future on today's civilization. And that NASA scientists have even recognized, and I want to emphasize the word irreversible, that we're facing an irreversible collapse of civilization that you people are going to experience big time, because it's going to happen within the next 20 years. And I say, so why is it relevant? Well, you might be today looking, saying, man, it's so hard to, get going into this world. And I go, well, great. Don't hold on to this world, because the world that we're in right now is in a state of chaos. You surf the web, watch the news, look out your window, the world's just crazy. I go, yep. That's part of what is called the evolutionary upheaval. We're breaking the old non-sustainable system down, and that's what the chaos is. But we're also building a new civilization, not just to survive, but to thrive into the future. So I say, so where are you? I say, well, you're not too much attached to this civilization. And I go, good. You know why? Because you're not meant to be. You're meant to be part of the new civilization. And so if you're watching Emilio's station and watching what he's doing, he's providing you with knowledge. Knowledge is power, and the power to not be caught up in this situation, but to move ahead and thrive into a new world. And so I really am thankful for Emilio to let me come on the show. And I'm really more thankful that you're out there, because by definition, you guys are the cultural creatives. Meaning what? Seeking a better way to live on this planet. And that's what we need right now. So what am I excited about is, well, a lot of people think, oh man, I can't get started. I'm having trouble getting a job and all that. And I go, actually, that's a pretty good sign. What do you mean it's a good sign? I go, because the system is collapsing. Joining onto the system now is like you're joining a train wreck. Get off the train and start looking that you are creating a future for us. And I depend on you, because it's the young people that have the energy and the vision to move out of where we are. And so I'm, again, thankful that you're out there, because I know that my future is better because you're here and because you're watching Emilio's show. Because why would you be watching it? Because I've looked at some of the guests that he has on this program, and I say, I would learn from all of those people, and I hope you are too. Why? Future is really going to be great. Doesn't look so hot right this minute, but hey, hang on. It's happening very fast.
And it's beautiful because, even one of those past guests that you mentioned, Charles Eisenstein, a beautiful thinker, and he mentioned in our show that he saw a vision of the older generation, the way showers of this new consciousness, extending out a hand into the young generations and building from there a whole totally new vision. So I was thinking, why not start this podcast with a presupposition where we're in a world where the entire human civilization has rewritten this false belief that we are frail biological machines controlled by our genes. What would human civilization look like in this new world if all of human civilization knew that we aren't controlled by our genetic destiny? We are controlled. We are the creators. What would humanity look like?
Well, the first thing is this. Given the option to create, you wouldn't create this mess that we have out here right now. Given the option, you have wishes and desires of what you want in this world. And it's a time for you to recognize that while you have all these wishes and desires, they don't seem to match the world that you seem to be involved in right now. And you have to recognize a law of physics. And I'm talking about the serious physics, quantum physics. And you go, yeah, I heard of that stuff. I go, man, you have to know more than just heard about quantum physics. Why? Physics is the science of how the universe works. That the programming of how the universe works, the mechanisms that we've been living by are more called classical or Newtonian physics. They separated the universe into a realm of matter and a realm of energy and said the universe is divided here into matter and energy, and that what affects matter is matter and what affects energy is energy, but they don't interact. And so all of a sudden we see a separation of the world into these two components. Religion and science is part of that as well, okay? And I go, so why is this important? Because that vision is completely 100% wrong. And that is the new physics, and it's not that new, folks, it's 100 years old. The new physics, quantum physics. Let me just give you a quote from one of the founders of this whole movement called quantum physics is Max Planck. Max Planck said this: the mind is the creator of all of our experiences. Now, this becomes very critical because it's the number one principle of quantum physics. And quantum physics is the number one valid science. So then all of a sudden I say, well, if the mind is a creator, how's your life? Are you creating? You're the creator. Are you having a great time here, or are you struggling to get through? Well, the important part about that is simply this. We are all creating at this time. If you're not creating what you want, there's a good reason as to why. And the why is this. Because you're creating from programs or experiences that you downloaded from other people in the first 7 years of your life. You go, why should I even think of what the hell has downloading got to do with it? And I go, well, I'll tell you a simple fact. The brain is not like a computer. The brain is a computer, a much more powerful computer than any human has ever created on this planet. And I go, so yeah, that's great, but it's a computer. And I go, yes, it is. And I say, why is that important? I say, because it functions in exactly the same way as your laptop. I go, so what does that mean? I go, well, in the old days, we'd go out and buy a computer. In the old days, it didn't even come with programs. You get a computer and it didn't have any programs. I said, you just spent thousands of dollars. You bought a brand new computer. You push start. The screen lights up. It's booted up. And I say, now do something with your computer. And you go, I can't. I go, what do you mean? You just spent thousands of dollars on this computer? Because the answer you're going to tell me is, I can't use the program and I can't use the computer until I put programs into the computer first. I go, oh, so you bought the new computer and then you downloaded, web surfing programs, write programs, drawing programs, spreadsheets, whatever the hell you put in there. But this gave you an opportunity to use that computer. Without those programs, you can't use it. Now I go back and say, yeah, but the human computer has the same functions, the same needs, and same instructions in a sense. I go, why is that important? I said, well, when your brain booted up the first time, that was about 3 months before you were born, and you were in utero, in the womb. And I go, so what? And I say, well, the screen's on, but guess what? Can't use that baby brain yet. Why? No programs are in there. So I go, oh my goodness. Programming began even before you were born. You were programmed by the chemistry of your mother's blood. I go, what's that have to do with it? And I go, the new science says this. Your belief that you've been programmed, that genes turn on and off, is 100% false. 100% false. Genes can't turn on and off. Genes are blueprints to make the proteins of the body. They're blueprints. And I go, so why is that important? I go, well, you go to an architect's office and let's say you ask her, you say, hey, is the blueprint that you're working on, is it on or off? And the architect will look at you and go like, what are you, crazy? It's a blueprint. There's no on and off to a blueprint. I go, aha, that's the point. DNA is a blueprint. It cannot turn on and off. I go, but what's the consequence? I said, well, if you believe it turns on and off, then you also believe your life is controlled by your genes because you don't control turning on and off the genes. That's what the belief is. And then you say, I'm a victim of my heredity. I said, what does that mean? I said, well, there's cancer running in the family. I could get the cancer gene. It'll turn on and off. It turn on. I could get the cancer. Whoa, I got Alzheimer's. I got heart attacks in my family. I'm going to catch those genes. And I said, what does that make you stop now and think? As far as you know, you didn't pick these genes that you came with. But if you don't like them, hey, you can't change them. And then you're told they turn on and off by themselves. And I said, if you put that together, we have programmed you to be a victim. You're a victim of what you think is running in your family. And that I have no control. I am powerless. Then, of course, the pharmaceutical company comes in there, the worst drugs. I mean, drug dealing is one thing, but the worst drugs are the ones that come from the pharmaceutical company. And I go, and they say, look, you're a victim. Take my drugs. You'll get better. That's BS, which means belief system. It's BS. And I go, why is this important? Let's go back to the fact that, A, the genes are blueprints. I go, so what? I say, blueprints can't turn on and off, but blueprints can be read and controlled. I go, who or what writes or takes care of the blueprints? I go, the architect. I go, yeah, but who or what's the architect? And here you go. You ready? The mind. The mind is the architect. It can turn on and off the genes. It can even change the genes and rewrite how they are, how they come out, the products that come out. Genes make proteins. Proteins are building blocks of the body. Are you building a healthy, strong body? You're building a weak, victimized body. I go, well, the blueprints. You say, oh, yeah, that's what causes illness. The body is all screwed up. The genes are bad. And it goes, less than 1% of illness on this entire planet, less than 1% of illness is even connected to genes. I go, then we're in a healthcare crisis over the whole planet. Where the hell is that coming from? Stress. Stress is the cause of over 90% of illness. Stress will break you down. I said, are you living in a stressful world? I said, Jesus, we just talked about it's falling apart all around you. Of course it's a stressful world. How are you succeeding? As young people, we're just barely getting by. I go, wow, that's even more stress right there. And I go, where's the issue here? I said, stress does 3 things to cause illness. I go, what is it? And I go, well, what's the role of stress? Originally, run away from the saber-toothed tiger. I go, well, yeah, but it might be the bill collector. It might be the, all of a sudden I got to the hospital. I can't afford to pay for that. I can't pay the rent. I say, these are tigers, folks. They're coming after you. I say, so why is this important? So let's just go back into the original tiger story. If the tiger's chasing you, what do you need to get away from that tiger? Intelligence? That's not going to help. Arms and legs, man. Yeah. It's the arms and legs that are going to make run like crazy. I go, so when you're running from that stress, you want the arms and legs to have blood in them because the blood carries the energy. I go, yeah, but now here's the issue. When you're in a state of peace and happiness and harmony, you don't put that much blood in your arms and legs because you're not going to use them that much. But you put the blood in the gut, the whole, what they call the viscera. I say, well, what's the blood doing in there? It's energy. I say, yeah, it's making sure your body's clean, filtered, debris is removed, rebuilding things, immune, all kinds of stuff is going on in there. So I say, yeah, well, that's the blood is providing the energy for that. And I go, yeah, but now, stress moment, tiger's coming. Do I want the blood in my gut? I go, I don't need the blood in my gut, man. I need the blood in my arms and my legs, because that's where I'm going to get the energy to run away. So I go, oh, well, how do you get that? Now, here comes the point, number 1 of 3. 1, the blood vessels in the gut squeeze shut when the stress hormones are there. I go, why? Because it pushes the blood to the arms and legs where I need the blood. I don't need it in my gut. And you can feel this. If you're under stress, you get a queasy feeling. Sometimes they say butterflies in the stomach. It's like fluttering. Something's going on. I go, you know what's going on? Stress hormones are causing the blood vessels to squeeze shut. It's the squeezing of the blood vessels that you feel that makes you a little queasy. And I say, so what's the first thing that happens when you're under stress? You shut down the maintenance of the body. That's what the organs are doing. I go, well, okay, all right. I say, what else happens? I go, well, you actually have 2 protection systems. We're talking about the adrenal system, fight or flight, the one to run away from that tiger. I go, what's the other protection system? I say, it's called the immune system. I go, what's the function of the immune system? If you have things in your body that are threatening you, the function of the immune system is to deal with them, eliminate them. I go, okay. The immune system uses a lot of energy. It does? I go, yeah. If you've ever been sick, you probably didn't even have enough energy to get out of bed. I go, but yeah, but where do you want the energy? If let's say you have a bacterial infection and you want the immune system to kill it, so you want to energize the immune system, so you have to give it blood to work. But you're also being chased by a tiger. I go, well, then I'm going to need the blood for the tiger too. So then I say, how would you split the energy? How much energy to fight bacteria? How much energy to run away from the tiger? Well, if you stop long enough to think about it, you realize something that's very simple. The hell with the bacteria. Why? If the tiger catches you, your problems are not bacteria now. You're food. If anything, the bacteria is the tiger's problem. But the point about it is, do I need to fight the bacterial infection when I'm running from a tiger? I say, absolutely not. And it uses a lot of energy. So I'd rather use the energy to run away from that tiger than to fight the bacteria. So number 2, when you're in stress, you shut off the immune system. Okay? Well, if you have infections or something going on in your body and you shut it off, it's sure as hell not going to help you with healing in any way whatsoever. Let's get to number 3, the third one. And the third one is simply this. If you're in a state of stress and fear and, fight or flight, thinking is not going to help you. Thinking is very slow. You want something to go fast. You want reaction. I want a response. I want to go. Reflexes. I go, oh, you know what? That doesn't come from the brain in the front called the conscious brain with the wishes and desires of who you really are, your spirit and stuff. Go fast, you want the hindbrain because that's where the reflexes are. So guess what? Remember the blood vessels are shut down in the gut with the stress hormones? The blood vessels in your thinking, conscious brain get shut down with the same stress hormones. Why? It pushes the blood to the hindbrain. And that's where you need the reactions from, so you become less intelligent. Now, let's put all this together. Number 1, you shut down the growth and maintenance of the body. Uh-oh, bad do. Number 2, you shut down the immune system. Uh-oh, not good for you at all. Number 3, you shut down your intelligence and now you become a victim. And then you're looking for somebody else to help you. Not very good at all. I say, why would nature make this system like this that we could, get hurt? Because nature designed the system to run away from a saber-toothed tiger. I go, so what does that mean? I say, that's 10 minutes. I go, oh, so if you shut everything off for 10 minutes and then come back online? I go, no problem. You can do that. But today's world that you're in, stress isn't 10 minutes, folks. Stress is every day, all year long. You got enough money to live? Can you pay the rent? Can you buy food? Can you get insurance? Can you take care of what you need? Get whatever, blah, blah, blah.
It's constant.
I go, stress, baby. So I say, guess what? You are in deep stress, whether you know it or not. And that stress is going to cause illness. And that's where 90+% of all illness comes from, is prolonged stress. And I say, well, we can change that, because we have to say, what are you afraid of? And then change that picture.
Yeah.
And so you're not afraid of that stuff anymore, because when you're out of fear, you're not in stress. And when you're not in stress, your body is running at the right, proper way of taking care of it, keeping it working, cleaning out any infective agents, being smart, and then creating the life you want. But not many people are doing
Yeah.
that.
What's
And that's
interesting is you mentioned about DNA, and when we're on this conscious evolutionary process as a species, how does DNA up level itself? Because we've learned a lot about in this show junk DNA and the hidden potentials that it has in store for us. How do we begin to tap into our most, greatest talents with the DNA, whatever evolutionary process we can go through to uncover latent processes that our DNA is withholding? How do we tap into that?
Well, first of all, we let go of the old story called genetic control, and that's the one that made you a victim. As far as you know, you didn't pick the genes, you can't change them, they turn on and off by themselves, you have no power, you are a victim of your heredity, and that's why, there's cancer running in my family and I can get the cancer. You know what? There's not even one gene that causes cancer. There's not even a gene that causes cancer. I say, yeah, but cancer's everywhere. What's going on? I go, oh, that's not living in harmony with life. That's the cause of the cancer.
Stress is everywhere, as you just said.
That's it. And how, if you can't handle the stress, then you get distress. And distress is the foundation of dis-ease. That's where it comes from. Distress, disease. So the big issue is this. You believe you're a victim. First of all, that just takes away your power. Well, what can I do about it? I don't control my health. I don't control anything. I'm a victim. I go, okay, wrong. Wrong, because that science of genetics is wrong, because the new science is called epigenetics. You go, well, that sounds almost the same. I say, it's that epi. That epi is the revolution. I go, what do you mean the revolution? I say, what does epi mean? Above. In other words, we call skin epidermis. I said, why do we give it that name? Because just below the surface skin is another layer called the dermis. And I go, where's the skin? Above the dermis. I say, oh, what's above? Epi. Oh, epidermis. Above the dermis. I go, great. Well, epigenetics. What does that mean? Above the gene. We let go of the false belief that your genes turn on and off by themselves, because if they did, you would indeed be a victim. But genes are blueprints. They cannot turn on and off. They can be read and activated. Yeah, by what? The architect. Oh, the architect runs my genes. I go, who's that? I go, the mind is the architect. And you go, your mind is creating this? And I go, principle number one, most valid science on the entire planet, quantum physics. Principle number one, Max Planck, 1927, consciousness is the creator of our life experience. And that was the new physics. And guess what? 100 years ago, there was not that long ago an article in the journal Nature. Now, I say the journal Nature because it's the most prestigious scientific journal on the planet. The most, the most scientific journal is Nature. There was an article not that long ago by a quantum physicist. The article is called The Mental Universe. I go, so what? I say, I don't even need to read the article. I just tell you what the last sentence sums it up in the most discrete and important understanding. And it goes like this. According to quantum physics, matter is an illusion because atoms are actually made out of energy. If you take them all apart, you get protons and neutrons, electrons. You take those apart, you get quarks. And if you take the quarks apart, guess what? You get down to energy, vortex, like little nano tornadoes. So an atom isn't made out of matter. An atom is made out of energy. Everything is made out of energy. The whole universe is made out of energy. There is no matter-energy separation. That's an illusion. I go, so what? Well, according to the physics, and I'm going to read just the last sentence from this paper in the most prestigious scientific journal, and it reads as, the universe is immaterial. Yeah, just basically saying it's not made out of matter, it's made out of energy. The universe is immaterial. It's mental and spiritual. Live and enjoy. And I go, what? A scientific journal? publishing the fact that my life is created by my mental and spiritual activity? I go, most absolute valid science on this planet, quantum physics, and it's a true story. Then all of a sudden, the belief that you've been programmed with, that genes control your life, you're a victim, blah, 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 turns into BS, a belief system. And I say, why is this important? Because you bought it. And I say, well, what does that make you? It makes you a victim because you say, oh, I can't control my life. My genes are doing this. It makes me stupid. My genes got me sick. My genes did that. And I go, nope, BS. I said, what is it? The mind. I go, oh, the mind. The mind is creating our life experiences. The mind is epigenetics. It's the action of the mind that controls your genes. Health, disease, everyone used to say, oh, the biology is broken. It doesn't work well, and that's why I got cancer. I got this, I got that. My biology is broken. My genes are screwed up. Okay, another important fact for you to think about. Less than 1% of disease is even connected to genes. Then you have to ask the question, where the hell is the disease coming from? The mind, epigenetically, is controlling the genes. What that means is this: 99 out of 100 people have the perfect set of genes to have a healthy, happy, long existence on this planet. 99 out of 100 should never have any disease. But they have disease. And I say, yeah, because of stress. Well, it shuts off the immune system and messes with everything. I go, oh, okay. But the article said, the mind said that, the article in physics said that it's the mental and spiritual state that determines the character of our lives. I go, how many of you there, get ready to raise your hand, how many of you out there want to see the world in chaos, war, violence, crime, and disease and all that? Everybody who wants to see that world, raise your hand. Good. Who the hell wants that? Yeah, but we have it. I said, but then where did it come from? Because if we're the creators, then who the hell created that? I go, you participated. Oh, no. I go, oh, yes. I said, how'd you participate? Because the word mind is a little mistaken there, in a sense, the mind, because there are two minds. And they work together sometimes, and sometimes they don't. And I go, what are the minds? I say, the conscious mind is the latest evolution, right behind your forehead. That's the seat of your spiritual foundation, who you are as an individual. That's the information coming from the conscious mind. Small part, 10% of the brain. I go, so the conscious mind, the latest evolution, is creative. That's what separates humans from lower animals. We have imagination. We can think about the future.
And if that's the part of our brain that perceives time as well.
Absolutely. It's the most important part for you because it's the part you control. So what is it you want? If I ask you, if I say, Emilio, tell me what you want from your life, I know the answer is going to come from where? The creative part, the conscious mind that has a vision. Yeah. Oh, I would love to be healthy. I'd love to make a lot of money. I'd love to have a great relationship. I go, oh yeah, wishes, desires, what you want. I go, that's conscious mind. But then if the mind is creating the problems, then I say, where are they coming from? Not the conscious mind. What's the other mind? The subconscious mind. I go, what the hell is this subconscious mind? I say, the equivalent of a hard drive in a computer. Why? It's got programs in it. And
it stores everything.
It stores all your life experience programs that you've had. Positive,
even past lives?
We're going to talk about that. It's influenced by past lives, so don't disappear on me, Emilio. We've got to go to that one, okay? But let's talk about the current life. And I go, your brain's a computer. Yep. It's got all the same functions that your laptop has. Yep. And works in the exact same way. Yep. I say, you got a brand new computer and no programs, you can't use it. So the first thing you do with any new computer is you download the programs. I go, yes. The child's brain, when it boots up just before you're born, a few months, has no programs. So it can't work until what? It gets programs. Well, it's influenced by the mother's life because her life experiences are in the chemistry of her blood, her emotions and her anger and fears and all these. And that's in the blood, which goes to the fetus and nourishes the fetus. And epigenetically, the signals in the blood control the development of the fetus. So you're already being programmed before you're born. But after you're born, and this is the real critical part, for the first 7 years of your life, your brain's not at the thinking level. That's a higher vibration and energy. Your brain's at a lower vibration called theta. I say theta is characterized by imagination. And this is why kids, they ride a broom. It's not a broom in the kid's head. Imagination, it's a horse. The mother said, give me the broom. The kid looks at her like not understanding why, because it is not a broom when the child's mind says it's a horse. It's imagination.
They're playing. They're in that theta state in hypnosis.
Theta, it's fun. A lot of imagination stuff. But, and here comes the important part, theta is hypnosis. I go, so what? And now the whole idea of why are we in the struggle and problem that we're in is this. You get programmed in the first 7 years by hypnosis. I say, why? First of all, why? Well, I can just ask you a question. How many things do you have to know to be a functional member of a family? Or how many things must you learn to be a functional member of a community? You know, you're not at the rock concert and then drop your pants and take a dump there in some place. Why? Well, that would be wrong. I say, oh, they got rules? I say, yeah, you learned them. So I say thousands of rules to be a member of a family, be a member of a community. An infant's got to learn them. I say, how's an infant? Can't read the book, can't go to school. It's an infant. I said, well, how's the kid going to learn? I go, that's why nature makes the first 7 years of a child's life in theta hypnosis. I say, why? Because it can watch the family and watch the community. Just watch them and download how they behave. So then the child says, oh, I got the program how to behave. I watch my parents. I watch my community. I downloaded their behavior. So I go, oh, cool part. Number one, you got programs of how to behave. Number two, where'd you get them from? Other people. I go, why is that a problem? Because if they had a problem in their life, you downloaded it too. So the idea, for example, cancer didn't come from a gene. They found that if a child's adopted into a family where there's cancer running in that family, the adopted child's going to get the same family cancer. I go, wait. The adopted child came from totally different genetics. I go, yeah. What caused the cancer? The programming causes cancer. Okay? We've all been programmed. The movie The Matrix, not science fiction, folks. Movie The Matrix, documentary. I go, what do you mean? What's the premise? Everybody's programmed. I go, well, that's a fact. Everybody is programmed. First 7 years, that's just the way it's always been. Nature did that. And then I love it because in the movie, they say you can take a red pill and you can get out of the program. Whoa. What would that be like? What if you stop playing programs? I go, when people fall in love, whether it's just for days, a week, a month, or whatever, the first few days of that falling in love, life changes profoundly. Your life could be blah, 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 blah. And then you meet someone and you fall in love. 24 hours later, it's like, oh man, life is beautiful. Life is great. I'm having a great time. Oh, everything's great. The food's great. The music's great. Even the job that sucks, well, that's great too. And I'm not going to talk about sex because you're too young, but that's great too.
In our 20s, we're in our 20s, Bruce. We're good. We're good.
That's too young. And the point about all this was what? You went from blah, blah, blah to create a space that we call the honeymoon. I said, what does the honeymoon represent? It said it represents heaven on earth. I go, so what's the point? I said, well, does heaven and earth only show up every now and then? I go, no, it's always there. But your programs that you're playing take you away from that. Because your programs run your life. And here's the number, Emilio, and you got to hit this home with the audience here. 95% of the day, you're not using the creative mind, the wishes and desires to make your life. 95% of the day, your creative conscious mind is thinking. And I go, so what? Thinking is not looking out the window. Thinking is looking inside. I can ask Emilio, I say, today's Tuesday. Emilio, what are you doing on Thursday? And if it's not written in front of him, I bet you give him a minute and Emilio will come up and answer, say, on Thursday, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And I go, where the hell did you get the answer? I thought about it. I said, where's the thought? Oh, it's inside. I said, so when you went inside to think, you weren't using the conscious mind to look outside. I said, you can't look outside and inside at the same time. So when you were starting to think, guess what? You stopped paying attention to what was going on out here. I go, wow, what if you're driving the car and then you start thinking? I say, then you're not driving the car. The conscious mind is looking inside. It's not looking out the windshield. Yeah, but I didn't wreck the car when I was thinking. Matter of fact, I didn't even see what was on the road. And I go, yeah, that was part of it. I say, why? Because when you were thinking, you were not observing the world, but you were driving the car. I go, yeah, well, guess what? Driving a car is a habit. It's a program. It's in your subconscious mind, in the hard drive. Do you need to watch the road? Nope. Subconscious mind, a million times more powerful than your conscious mind. It's watching the road and dealing with everything while you're thinking. Now comes, what does all of this crap that I'm talking about mean? It means this. Only 5% of the day are you using the conscious creative mind to make the life you want. Because 95% of the day is the amount of time you are thinking. I go, yeah, but that means that 95% of the day when you're thinking, you're not running the show because your consciousness is looking inside.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, then your program is running the show. And I say, where'd you get the program? Other people. I go, did they answer your wishes and desires? Probably not. So I guess then that program's not going to take you to wishes and desires. Nope, I don't think so. And a little side thing. 60% of the programs you downloaded in that first 7 years of life are disempowering, self-sabotaging, and limiting beliefs. So 60% of your hard drive subconscious programs are not very positive at all. They undermine you. And I go, yeah. And they work 95% of the day. And I go, well, I would see if I was screwing my life with my behavior. I go, no, you won't. What do you mean I won't? And the answer is, why are you playing the program? Because you're thinking. Oh, but when you're thinking, you're not watching what's going on. I go, nope, you have no idea what the hell is going on except the program is doing it automatically. You are playing your program and you're the only one that can't see it. I think the last time I was here, I talked about the fact that you have a friend, you know your friend's behavior very well, and you know your friend's parent. One day you see your friend has the same behavior as the parent. You're going to tell your friend. You got to go, hey, Bill, you're just like your dad. Back away from Bill. You already know this. Because Bill, I know what's he going to say, Emilio?
I don't
see Emilio,
it.
you're just like your father. What are you going to say?
Not at all. Not at all.
I'm not anything like my father. I go, but guess what? You just played 95% of your life from the programs you got from him. And I go, yeah, and those programs are not very powerful. In fact, 60% of them are disempowering. And I go, so what? I go, you are playing the program for what reason? You can't see what's going on because you're looking inside at a thought. So did you see the program that came out? No. Did everybody else? Yes. I go, so where's the problem? Well, we have wishes and desires, and when we can't get there, what do you think we do? We blame people. This person got in the way. My mom did this. My blah, blah did that. I would have been successful, but these people. I go, okay, correction. I say, what? You were the one that was broadcasting the bad program that you got. And you're the one that couldn't see it, but everybody else did. And what were they doing? Responding to your program. You were creating this without you even know you were creating it because the program was playing and you didn't even see it. And the program was sabotaging you. You see the sabotage. You didn't see your participation. That makes you a victim. Oh, I would have been successful, but those people got in the way and this person did that and blah, blah, blah. And I go, BS, my friend. I say, what? You didn't see that the programs you were playing were sabotaging you. You only saw the result of that. So in the movie The Matrix, it says, yeah, you were programmed. I go, yep, that's a fact of life. Everybody got programmed. Then in the movie, they say, take a red pill and you get out of the program. I say, yeah, if you ever fell in love, no matter how short, how many days it was, the first couple of days of that falling in love part, you created a different life experience. We call it the honeymoon. It's called heaven on earth. I go, what was different? I said, you stopped playing the programs because science has recognized when you did fall in love, you stopped thinking. I go, what did you do? The word is you stayed mindful. You stayed present. I go, what does that mean? I say, why would you think and disconnect when the person you've been looking for is right there in front of you and the one you want to be in love with, why would you think and then disconnect? And the answer is you wouldn't. So guess what? You stop thinking. And then I go, then what happens? You stop playing the program. And the moment you stop playing the program, your life went from blah, blah, blah to heaven on earth. Do you get a picture here? What's going on? I hope you get the picture. The picture is this. Heaven on earth is always here, except the damn programs we play 95% of the day take us away from that. Make us sick, make the world sick. And I say, you want to change the world? I say, yeah, change the damn program.
Yeah.
I guess you probably want to ask how to change the program, right?
There are many ways. There are many ways. If you want to highlight, maybe there's one that I really wanted to get into, which is really curious, what you call super learning.
Yes.
And, you know, we know that we can rewire our subconscious mind through hypnosis, through habit, repetition. But there's one that's like you said, in 15 minutes, you can change a belief or a subconscious program. What is this new technology or new discoveries that we're seeing in the rewiring effect?
Well, let's first go back to the fact that a child under 7 years old can learn just from one experience. Just one experience, boom, download. It's got that memory for the rest of its life. I said, wow. That's super learning. Didn't even have to hear it twice. Just once. Boom. Download it. I go, how can the brain of a child under 7 do that? And the answer is this. If you look at a brain, there's a line right down the middle that splits it in two halves. We call them hemispheres. But the two hemispheres have different functions. The left hemisphere is the one with intellectual words, think that words and stuff like that. The right hemisphere is not intellectual, it's emotional. It's the one that has pictures and feelings, okay? When a child is under 7, both hemispheres are working at the same time. It's called whole brain, using both halves at the same time.
It needs all the capacities to download the program.
Yeah, not only that, but it really covers everything. Everything you've experienced had an intellectual meaning to it. Who did what to who, but it had an emotional meaning. I felt so bad. I got mad. I got sad. I said, oh, so every experience under 7 has why and how and the emotional consequence of what happened, okay? After age 7, they don't physically separate. They functionally separate. I go, what does that mean? That means they're not working at the same time after age 7. I say, when? Till the day you die. I go, what does that mean? I go, well, right now, Emilio and I are talking, right? And the point about this is we're staying conscious. And in this process, we're really operating from our left intellectual side. But every 2 hours to 3 hours, there's a wave. First, the left side is in power, so you're more intellectual. Later this afternoon, after this broadcast, I might go back into the right side and get more emotional and hang out and do that. And then 2 or 3 hours after that, I'll get more intellectual. So it's a wave. Sometime during the day, you're more intellectual. Sometime during the same day, you're more emotional. But they're not working at the same time. So I say, yeah, but what happened when they stopped working at the same time? Super learning disappeared. Then you had to put effort in to learn a lot of things, okay? Especially because they were separated functions now, okay? Yeah. But if you can put them back together again, so the two hemispheres start to work in harmony with each other, you can re-engage super learning. I go, so what does that mean? I said, well, if I engage super learning and I'm in the process to rewrite a program, how long does it take me to change the program? I go, about 10 or 15 minutes at the most. I go, what? Yeah, you could have a program your whole life that sabotages you. And if you get into a super learning state, you can rewrite that program in minutes and walk away a different person. There's an old saying that you guys probably may have heard or not heard. It's called, necessity is the mother of invention. What it really states is when the world or people have a need to do something, a new invention will come in that will help us do it. Well, the new invention in this case is called energy psychology. It's not the psychology of, the old days where, oh, your mom did this and your dad did that, your best friend did, you cry and you live the whole experience and review it, and I go, that's a waste of time. Actually, it's actually detrimental. I go, why? The people that caused the problem led to you to have a program to respond to that problem. They're gone. You still have the program. I go, what's the point? Well, you can dredge up all those people from the past and review, oh my God, what did they do to me? What did they do to me? And you get all emotional and all that stuff. I go, big deal. Why? You got the program. I don't have to tell you how you got the program. It's not relevant. Those people are not here anymore. You're walking with the program right now. So it says what? I don't need to go backwards to change the program. I need to go forwards to change the program.
Yes.
I said, well, how do you do that? Well, you brought up the fact that there's a state called self-hypnosis. There's also habituation, the habit of repeating something and making a new program. And energy psychology is a variety of processes that engage the super learning so that you can take your program and rewrite it in minutes. I go, wow, we have a necessity to do that because the planet is facing an extinction process with us in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
I go, so what? I say, so a new type of psychology, energy psychology comes up. I'll just give you an insight very quickly. My website, straight simple, brucelipton.com. Under resources, I have 25 or more different energy modalities, energy psychology modalities. I describe each one and give a website where you can get in-depth knowledge about it. So the point about it is this. What is it that creates that super learning? I said, it's the ability to get right and left hemispheres together. The one process that I use, and not biased because it's the one I use and I like it because it works 10 minutes.
we want to know that one.
It's called Psych K, which is PSYCH, like the abbreviation of psychology, PSYCH-K.com. If you go to that website, you can see the program, how it works. It's the simplest, fastest, easiest thing I've ever experienced in my life, okay? And I say it uses a process to engage super learning. How do you engage super learning? Well, let me give you a simple fact. My right arm is controlled by my left hemisphere. My left arm is controlled by the opposite hemisphere. So the right hemisphere covers what's going on the left side of my body, and the left hemisphere covers what's going on the right side of my body. So I said, my right arm is controlled by which hemisphere? Left. But watch. If my right arm crosses over the middle and gets into this other area over here, that's the area covered by the left hemisphere. So when I cross my arms or I cross my ankles, I'm making right and left come back together again. That's called whole brain. And when I'm in this posture, my brain starts to work just like that 7-year-old. Both left and right are working at the same time. I go, yeah, and that's when a child had that experience that it could just one take and it remembered it. So I say, when you're in that whole brain posture, you can repeat to yourself what you want to be true. I'll give you a statement. I love myself. And I'd give you that statement because 80 to 90% of all people that we've looked at in regard to belief systems will not test positive for I love myself. I go, you don't understand the deep meaning of that. The deep meaning is if you don't love yourself, you're not going to take care of yourself. If you don't love yourself, you're not going to let anybody else love you because they said they love you and you say, hey, I know I'm not lovable. What's wrong with you? You know? And basically, what does it mean? If you're not lovable, you're not going to make the life that you want because you don't see yourself as worthy of doing it. 80 to 90% of the people will not test positive for I love myself. So I say, so you want to make the program? I say, yeah. I said, what do? Get into super learning, there's more to the process. Read the website. And I say, then what? I say, when you're in that posture, which is called the whole brain posture, all you have to say to yourself is, I love myself. I say, well, how do you know you don't have a program? Okay, now I got to back up a little bit. How do I know what my programs are? How do you know what your programs are? You say, why? I said, when did you get the program? Well, you started getting programmed before you were born. Do you have any memory of that? No. You were programmed the whole year from 0 to 1. You remember those programs? No. You were programmed the whole year from 1 to 2. No, I don't remember that one either. How about from 2 to 3? No, I don't remember that one either. I said, guess what, folks? You don't even know what your programs are. Why? Because you weren't conscious. The brain wasn't working at that level in that period of programming, theta. So I say, so what does it mean? I say, right now, you cannot say, my program is this. Why? Because you weren't even there, so you don't know what the program is. So I say, well, how do I know what the program is? And I'm going to tell you two things about it. Number one, 95% of your life is the program. That's how much time we spend thinking.
Life.
That's the answer, Emilio. Look, simple point. The things you like that come into your life, they come in because you have a program to acknowledge and take those in. But, and this is the big B-U-T, but, and I say, what is it? The things that you want, but you have to work hard for, put a lot of effort into it, struggle, I'm going to make it happen. I'm working hard. I'm going to make it happen. I'm working. Why are you working so hard? And the answer, I love it. Because whatever you're trying to get, your program doesn't support it, and that's why you're struggling. Because if you had a program that accepted it, they would have been there already, okay? So the first thing is this. What are your programs? Look at your life. The things that you work on and it's not getting it, you want to change those programs, because just look at whatever it is. Like 80, 90% will not test I love myself. Wow. Because they were criticized as kids under age 7. I said, well, that was the hypnosis part. And I go, yeah. What did parents say? Oh, that's not good enough. Who do you think you are? You don't deserve this. You're not that smart. You're not that lovable. They were saying that because they thought if they stick that needle into you, you're going to go better. I'll do better. I go, if the child's under 7, they are not even thinking. They're just recording. Not good enough, not deserving, not lovable. I said, those are programs. Then what? 95% of your life is coming from those negative programs. 60% of the program's negative, okay? So I go, so what? I say, well, how do I know the program? Number one, your life is a printout. Number two, and this is the part that's also with Psyche, it's called muscle testing. You go, what the hell is muscle testing? Well, here's the point. The brain is not equally divided. The conscious brain is about 10%. The subconscious brain is about 90%, the one with the programs, okay? And the fact is this, is that the subconscious brain is the one that's working 95% of the time. That's the one with the programs in it. Yeah. And I go, but what else is important? Okay, remember the conscious brain was the creator brain. Wishes, desires, what you want. And the subconscious brain is the program brain. Now comes the point. It's the subconscious brain, the big part that controls the muscles. Okay? That's a fact. Now I say, so what? I say, well, the conscious brain is creative. It can say anything. You could say, I have 2 heads. It could say that. But when you say that, the subconscious brain takes that statement and looks in the history and says, that's not true. It looks at it and says, there's no data. That doesn't support. Nothing's true. You could say, I love myself. And the subconscious brain goes over the history and says, no, you didn't get any program that you love yourself. Okay. I say, so what happens? And this is the muscle test. When you make a statement with the creative mind, the subconscious mind's job is to see if that's true. By what? Looking at the history. If I make a statement and the history doesn't support it, then the two minds are not in harmony.
Yeah.
This one said, I love myself. This subconscious one goes, no, you don't. I said, what happens when the minds are not in harmony? And this is it. Well, the subconscious mind controls the muscles. When it's in a state of disharmony, it loses the strength of the muscles. All of the muscles, every muscle. You can do muscle tests with an arm. You can do it by pushing on a head. You can do it by pushing on a finger. You can do it with an eye chart. Meaning what? You focus the muscles. You see that small line? I could read it. Then I say, make a statement that's not true. And your subconscious is going to go, oh, no, it's not true. It loses the strength. Guess what? You'd have to start looking at bigger lines because that other one, the muscles are not strong enough to even focus on it. So every muscle. So I say, so what? So you do a muscle test and you make a statement. I love myself. If the subconscious has the data that you do, then the point is they both agree and your arms or legs or finger or head will stay strong if you push on them. But if you say something and the subconscious mind doesn't agree with it, then your muscles go weak. And then if I was pushing on your arm, I'd say, if you make a statement that's true, your arm is strong like a rock. I can't push it. But if you make a statement that's false, I can push it and your arm will go down. Why? The muscles got weak. So muscle testing is an important part of acknowledging what are the programs that support you or not.
Yeah.
And there are ways to do it, and it's a very important way because it's how you can talk to the subconscious. Otherwise, there's no communication. There's nobody in there. Oh, I gave myself a good talking to. I talked to my subconscious. And I go, and who was listening? Well, the subconscious. I go, no, there's nobody in there. No, you talked. It didn't help anybody. Why?
It
There's
doesn't
nobody in there.
communicate in language.
No, nothing's in there. So the idea of talking to yourself is not really the most effective way of changing it, although a lot of repetition can do that. A lot of repetition will do that. You can change it. So energy psychology are ways to increase the learning capacity by going into like a super learning state.
Wow.
And that means that I can take a belief like I love myself, which I didn't succeed when I tested the first time, and I get into that what's called the whole brain state, and I just repeat to myself, I love myself. And then you get a feeling. And then you say, I love myself, and then you get a feeling. It's the feeling that's the giveaway.
Yes.
If you don't love yourself and you say, I love myself, your body goes, nah, that's static. Nah, that's not true. Doesn't feel right. And all you do is you sit there in that whole brain posture and you just repeat, I love myself, go for the feeling. I love myself, go for the feeling. After a few minutes, you'll say, I love myself, and the feeling will be 100% different. All of a sudden, it's like, yeah, okay, sure, I got it, no probs. And then I say, oh, you just reprogrammed it. And I say, oh, how'd you know you reprogrammed? I say, remember that muscle test? You don't control that subconscious, folks. When the subconscious goes weak because you said, I love myself, and the subconscious is saying, you don't have a program. If you go through this process and you get after and you say, yeah, the feelings have changed. I can feel the difference. I say, well, how do you know if it worked? I said, do the muscle test. Why? Because this time you say, I love myself. If the subconscious has changed, you will not be able to move that arm. And all of a sudden I go, oh, how do I know it changed? You have no control over the subconscious. It controls you. So if you can hold that arm out, make a statement and stay strong, then you know that the subconscious mind now agrees with that statement.
Yeah.
And you can go through and clear out your library of bad programs, which I did. And I rewrote the programs I wanted. I love myself. I'm safe. I'm happy. I'm creator, blah, blah, blah. I can make these statements and check them and then do them. And I'll tell you what is the consequence of all this. And Emilio knows me enough to know that I have been living on a honeymoon for 28 years in a row. I go, why? Because if I start thinking and my subconscious kicks in, guess what? The programs are the same ones that I call wishes and desires. So even when I'm not even paying attention, my subconscious programs are manifesting what? The wishes and desires. I love myself, I'm safe, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden I say, so what? So whether I'm thinking I want to create this or whether I'm actually creating it, thinking or not creating it, both minds, conscious and subconscious, now have the same wishes, the same desires, and the same outcome. And that is then you have empowered your life. And this is why Emilio and I get along on this topic, because we want you to empower your life. We trust you more than at least I trust the government, I'll tell you. And I trust you all. Why? Because if every one of us started living wishes and desires, and the truth is everyone would be living the honeymoon and everyone would be living heaven on earth, and the earth actually is heaven, which is the one thing I learned through all my research at some point, is we came here as spiritual energies and we're in a virtual reality suit.
Ooh.
And the suit is what gives you taste and vision and smell and touch and pain and feelings and all that. So when your spirit, which is an energy, connects to this remote control robotic virtual suit, you run the suit and you can use it to create. And you can create heaven on earth or you can create hell on earth. That's your creation right there.
Yeah.
But if you start creating heaven on earth, then you realize why you came here. Because don't believe the story that there's a hell. No, somebody made that up to scare you. So you will buy the 100%. The church comes in and says, yeah, there's a hell. You're afraid. And they say, give us 10% of your money and we'll give you a pass to go to heaven. You don't have to. It's like,
An
oh man,
interest
they're
tax.
selling.
Interest
They're
rate.
selling it. Absolutely. They sell fear. Okay. And then they actually, no, they don't sell the fear. They give you the fear for free. They sell you how to get out of the fear. That's what the problem is. And I say, so why are we here? We came here because this is heaven. I said, why? What is heaven? I said, heaven is creative. Ask 100 people what heaven is. You're going to get 100 different answers. I go, so is there 100 different heavens, one for each of them? I say, no, one earth. You can create here what your vision of heaven is.
Yeah.
And if you look at your life and you're creating hell, I say you got some bad programs. That's the only reason you're not having heaven on earth. Because this is why we came here. Don't wait till die that you're going to go to heaven. Start living it now. Because this is where heaven is manifest through your spirit, which is the broadcast, and your virtual reality suit, which is the creative element of that broadcast. And all of a sudden, if you start doing this, and Emilio and I can relax, because the trouble that the world is experiencing right now will disappear when all people start to realize, wait, it's not a war place. This is a place of, we could create happiness. I go, that's why we're here. Create it. Make it. If it's not working, it's not because you can't have it. If it's not working, it's because your program doesn't let you have it. But the program is changeable. So the whole idea is you watch Emilio's show. He's got all these wonderful guests that come on that will give you all the information about create heaven on earth. That's why you are here. Don't wait to die, folks. This was your opportunity to manifest.
Yeah.
Make it here.
And going mystical 1 second, Bruce, I wanted to ask you, if we are in this virtual reality biological suit right now, and our spirit is sort of coming in, jumping in to create this heaven on earth at this time, does that mean that that spirit that you're referring to has inhabited different suits at different moments? Or where does the spirit go after it leaves this suit?
Okay, I'm going to tell you how it works because there's a simple analogy. My body is a television set. The broadcast is Bruce. That's the show that is playing on this television set, okay? Now, let's say you're watching TV and the TV breaks. What do we say about it? TV is dead. Yep, it's not going to work anymore. It's dead. Did the broadcast die? No. Broadcast wasn't in the TV. It was picked up by the antennas. What's the point? The bodies, televisions, come and go. The broadcast is always here. And if another TV, a human body, shows up with the same set of what are called self-receptors, that's what makes us separate. No two humans have the same proteins on the surface of their cells called self-receptors. That's your identity. That's how come we can't exchange organs with each other. I put my lung into your body, your immune system looks at the cells and said, that's not self. I said, how do they know it's self? I said, because the antennas. Your antennas are different than everybody else on the planet. You're the only one with that set of antennas to receive the broadcast. It's like on a radio, you got a whole band. And as you turn the knob, here's one station, then there's another station, then there's another station, and another station. Well, in the band of human life, each of us is a station receiving a slightly different broadcast than everybody else. That's your station. That's your broadcast. That's your spirit playing through here. And the significance about it is, but the spirit is not in the system. It's being picked up by the system. And let's add this last fact because I want to make the story complete. I can put wires on your head and I could read your brain activity. It's called EEG, electrical encephalograph. Okay? There's another device, more modern than EEG, that reads brain function. It's called MEG, magnetoencephalograph, instead of electroencephalograph. And I say, so what? It reads brain function. I go, yeah, so what? The probe is out here. Stop for 1 second. Understand what I just said to you. I'm reading your brain function out here. Do you know what that means? Stop. I go, you're broadcasting. Your thoughts are broadcast. And it's quantum physics said that those broadcasting thoughts are creating the world that you're living in. And it's also going back to the source. So your spirit has experiences from being on this planet at this time through whatever you're feeling. And it's altered your spirit. Your spirit's still there. You die, a new embryo shows up with the same antennas, you're back. Different TV. Does it make a difference they're male or female? I go, no, that's the TV. That's not the broadcast. Does it make a difference it's white, brown, black, red, yellow? I go, no, that's the TV. That's not the broadcast. Each human is a broadcast and a virtual reality suit. And if we understand the difference between them, then we start to recognize that each person is a spiritual entity having a life experience. Is their life experience great or not? I go, hey, how were they programmed? That's the bottom line. If a program is, your computer is programmed correctly, then you get a lot of enjoyment and functionality out of it. If you got glitches in your program, it sucks and you can't use it. It doesn't work right. And I go, the brain is a computer and the programs determine what you're going to do with it.
Yeah, and going deeper into the MEG, you said that we're broadcasting here, and our thoughts are broadcasting out here. So you've mentioned that every organism has a unique vibratory energetic field, and that these beliefs are maybe the dysfunctional beliefs or the empowering beliefs get stored in this energetic field. So does that mean
they shape it depending on which one you're in? If you're in the conscious mind, the field is shaped by wishes and desires. But if you're operating from the subconscious mind, then your field is shaped by the nature of the programs you got downloaded with.
Yeah. So I guess where I was going was, will other people subconsciously pick up on your energy field when they come in contact with you if we're all broadcasting something in the invisible field?
Everybody does this, and you just have to acknowledge it. And I say, well, what does it represent? I'm talking about what's called energy entangling, waves. Mm-hmm. Everything is waves. So you're broadcasting waves, and you have waves. And if your waves are in harmony with somebody else's waves, those harmony waves add up and make more power. It's called good vibes.
Good vibes.
And if your energy waves are not in harmony with somebody else's and they're not coming at the same time, they can cancel each other out. No energy, bad vibes. No energy is lack of life. All organisms, from the most primitive one up to us, the first level of communication was vibration. We added language. But every other organism doesn't do language, it reads vibration. Your dog reads your vibration, not your words. Yeah. It knows, like, if it feels good, if you're feeling good. If you're afraid, it's nervous, okay? If you're angry, it's ready. And I go, it's not understanding your words, it's linked into your vibration. Everything is vibration, okay? So the idea is this. You read this and you have been programmed not to pay attention. I go, that's the biggest mistake in your life. Why? Everything gives off a vibration. And you can determine, is the vibration that something has something that's in harmony with you? Why? If it's in harmony, you get good vibes. I feel more powerful. I feel more powerful being here with that, you, whatever. If the energy is canceling you, and remember, energy is life. If you lose your energy, you lose your life. If the energy that's out there is canceling your energy, you feel it is called bad vibes. And it's nature's way of telling you you're in the wrong place because those vibes are taking away your vitality and you can feel the energy come out of your body. You feel weak, you feel vulnerable. That's bad vibes. It's a signal that says, get the hell away from wherever those bad vibes are. Okay?
Like when they robbed you. That one time.
And I didn't pay attention. My fault. And it's all of our fault because we were never really programmed to say the vibrations are the first level of communication before anything. When you meet somebody brand new, you haven't even talked with them. They're giving off vibes. And your feelings, your receiver of vibes, if it's good vibes, then hang around with this person. It's really good. If it's bad vibes, don't stay there, because if you listen to them, they'll tell you a story. The story isn't real. It's the vibes that are real. And that's why sometimes you get caught with somebody you don't want to be with. Why? Because their story sounded so good. You say, oh, I like that story. I go, yeah, but underneath that story, they have not good intentions. And those intentions are the
Been there.
vibes. Yeah. And all of us have, but we never really pay attention. So I want people out there to understand this. Start going with your vibes. When it feels good, that's an enhancement of your life. If you feel the energy starting to slip away, that's a threat on your life.
Yeah.
And the idea is make the response according to that.
And
Go toward the high vibes, get away from the low vibes.
and you said the receiver of the vibes, and I just want to lock this in for people because I learned from you that the receiver of these vibes, the responding organ, is the heart.
Yeah.
So what
Yeah,
is the
you got
power of our heart? And maybe if our heart is closed when we come into an environment, we won't be able to pick up and read any vibes at all. So how do we
Right.
come in with an open heart to these situations?
You have to, it's a feeling, and you have to be open to the feeling instead of suppressing your feelings. You say, how do I feel about this? I can be next to somebody in a moment, tell if I feel good next to them or feel not so good next to them. I can tell you, trust the feeling before the words. The words are, anybody can say any damn thing they want. But feelings, no, those are true. And if you start to follow your feelings, you'll always find you're going in the right direction. Because the moment you start getting a negative feeling, the biology is telling you this is not going to enhance your life. This is going to take away your life.
Bruce, what are what is the return of the white light on the planet?
History-wise, we talk about the white light as some great prophet that has come here before, that Muhammad, Buddha, Jesus, oh, these are the source of the great prophets and the great, white light with all the wisdom. Well, there's a thing called a prism. And if you shine white light into a prism, the word is refraction. It comes out as the colors of the rainbow. The prism breaks up the light into all the different frequencies that make up that light. Well, guess what? Each of us, as I said, receives a new broadcast different than anybody else. So each of us is a frequency. Each of us is our own frequency. But if you put all the frequencies together, then you get a collective. And I go, what's the point? I say, all humans are frequency of light. When all humans come together in harmony, all the frequencies are there. So I said, what does that mean? I said, a white light goes in the prism and the rainbow comes out. I said, yeah, but what if you put the rainbow back in? I say, then the white light comes out. I go, so what's the point? I say, we are the white light, but it only works when all of our frequencies come together. If I take a frequency out of the spectrum and I throw it away, and take the remaining colors of that rainbow and put it through the prism, it's not white light when it comes out the other side. White light are all of the frequencies collected. And this is what the point is. We're waiting for some white light, like some guy is going to come and change. I say, no, we are the white light. But what makes the difference? Are we working together or are we separating from each other? Separation takes the frequencies out of the spectrum. Murdering somebody says that you just took the frequency out of the spectrum. And I said, it's all of the frequencies at once that make white light. You throw somebody out, you threw out a frequency, you're not getting white light out the other side, folks. So we're not going to wait for some brilliant prophet to come and save us. We are the brilliant prophet. But to do that, we have to come together in a community. And there's no sides to that community because the community is, everybody is in one. And you can see the world is being split into so many different pieces now. And I say, well, that's the against evolution.
Yeah, the
because
evolution.
evolution is coming together. Evolution has come together in harmony. And splitting us up and warring between each other, that's a breakdown of evolution. That's barbaric. That's old stuff. I was going to say other word, but old stuff.
Old shit. I'll say it for you.
Thank you very much, because that's the real meaning of it. It's old, and we shouldn't be doing that stuff anymore, because if we started to learn anything about intelligence and who and what we are, the idea of war and violence is anti-living a life. And that's why I got to get the young people to get this. Why? Can't do this shit anymore.
Mm.
We're in a falling down. The falling down is good. Why? Because it's the structure that we have that's causing the problem. So if it falls down, we could stop the problem, but it doesn't just fall down, we build the new one. And that's why when we started off this whole conversation, Emilio, I said, I want to thank our audience. They're the cultural creatives. They're the potential source of all the new that we need to bring the harmony back to the planet. All of you are part of this. Even if you feel disconnected, I go, well, it's a good sign. Because what you think you want to get connected to, that's the thing that's falling down. So getting connected to that is not going to help
Hop
you.
on the new train.
That's it. Yeah, go toward the light, baby. That's where we're going.
And Bruce, you gave a talk a couple years ago at the University of Tel Aviv in Israel, and honoring everything that is going out there right now. What were some of the biggest insights or takeaways from your talk there, and what were you trying to transmit to the audience?
Yeah. Interesting. It was in Israel at University of Tel Aviv. We bussed in over 300 Palestinians from the West Bank that had never even been in Israel because they hate each other a lot, you know? And we brought them into this big conference. And I started giving the science of programming, that we are not who we are, the spirit, we're the program 95% of the day. And I started talking about programming, and I give the story, and then I say, and here's the problem. This was a moment I'll never forget because I was using PowerPoint, and I put up a slide, and it says in white letters, the problem. And then when I pushed the button, two pictures came up side by side. One picture was Israeli kids playing with machine guns, kids, and the other was Palestinian kids dressed in military uniform carrying guns. And I showed this to the audience and said, the problem, I said, what are you doing? You're programming them to hate each other. They don't even know each other. And you're putting a program of hate. Yeah. You could hear a pin drop. 1,500 people in the auditorium. It was dead silence. The air got sucked out for a moment when reality hit. Holy shit. We're perpetuating war because we're programming the children to hate each other and they don't even know each other. And then I showed the next slide, black screen, the solution. And when I pushed the button, two pictures came up. It was an Arab and Israeli boy walking arm in arm down a street on one side. The other side was a Palestinian girl and an Israeli girl playing or doing something in harmony and loving each other. And I said, that's the solution. Kids that grow up together are not going to kill each other. You separate them, program them, and when they grow up, and 95% of life is coming from the program, is coming from what? Violence, fear, anger, and all that stuff you put into them. Look at today's world. That's what's going there. And it's unfortunate because I write a newsletter, and my last newsletter, it was sort of like saying, both sides are wrong, folks. Both the Palestinians and the Israelis are both wrong. They're both creating the problem. And they're anticipating that one side's going to override the other side. I said, not happening, folks. Evolution is you have to come together in harmony. And a lot of people wrote, yeah, that was really nice, newsletter, Bruce. And then some of them wrote, I used to follow you, but now I burned your books. Who are you? You know, they got mad at me because I was trying to say peace is the only way out of the damn program. They wanted me to take a side and be violent. And I said, I'm not taking sides. Both sides are wrong. There's a quote. Yeah, Emilio, I love this quote. Listen to this one. You ready? War does not determine who's right. War determines who's left. Think about that. You don't be right if you win, but war will kill you, and whoever's left over wins. Who's left after the war? Huh. So this is a time for change. Yeah. And I cannot promote or support anything that violates humans or nature. Yeah. Nature is what got us here, and we have to start honoring and taking care of nature. We have to be the gardeners. This is the indigenous people on this planet 10,000 years ago. They said, we're living in a garden, and we are gardeners, and we're going to take care of the garden. And over 10,000 years, that whole idea is lost, and now we control the garden. I go, how's that working out? I said, we're going extinct, so your control sucks. It's not working. It's killing us.
Mm.
Time to change. Let's be the gardeners again.
Yeah.
And so all of you are looking for work. Guess what? New jobs are coming. Not the same bullshit jobs, especially with petroleum and all that stuff like that. New jobs to do what? Take care of the environment. Keep it healthy. Let it produce so that we can live and survive on this planet without destroying its resources. And that is why you're not part of the system, because the system is actually destructive.
Mm.
That you find yourself out of the system feeling lost. I go, don't worry. Jobs are coming.
Yeah.
But they're not the jobs that are here now. It'll be the jobs of harmony, gardening, and taking care of the world, taking care of each other, taking care of the kids, programming them with a better life, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And Bruce, I'm wearing a crew neck that our community wears that says "as above, so below." And
oh yeah,
you said that if you understand how a cell works, you understand how a human works, and you should be able to understand how humanity works because it's called a fractal. So this goes into some metaphysical topics that, for many years, even the Hermetic philosophers have talked about. All is mental, as above, so below, as within, so without. So how do you see that related with what we know now with the new science, and how can we apply these philosophies in our daily life?
Yeah, well, basically, look, when we went to school, we all learned a course called geometry. The official name is called Euclidean geometry. And I say, what's that? That's the one with squares and circles and cubes and spheres and pyramids and structure and space. Geometry is the math of putting structure into space. So what did we learn? Oh, we learned about area and volume and blah, 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 and we created the world. But that's not, you can't use Euclidean geometry and create life. You can create a building, you can create a computer, but you can't create life because that geometry doesn't make life. I say, there's a newer geometry and it's called fractal. It's actually called fractional geometry. And I go, what the hell does that mean? I say, look, the geometry we did, the Euclidean, remember there were different dimensions. Okay, 3 dimensions. Okay, that's a 3 dimensions is a pyramid. 2 dimensions, oh, it's a triangle. 1 dimension is just a line. 0 dimension is just a point. So what do we have? 0 point, 1 line, 2 surface area, 3 volume. I go, those are the dimensions. But they never talk about what's a 2.5 dimensions. They go, what do you mean half dimension? What the hell's a half dimension? A fraction of a dimension? I go, yeah. I go, what's a fraction of a dimension? So I say, okay, look, I have a piece of paper, okay? I say, pretend it's just area, surface area. I say, then what dimension is surface area? 2 dimensions. I say, now watch. Now I say, ooh, it looks like 3 dimensions, doesn't it? It's got volume and depth and everything. It's 3 dimensions. I go, no, you know why? Section it. Anywhere you section, it's just a flat surface. There's no 3 dimensions. It's not solid, nothing. So I said, well, then it's not 3. It's more than 2. I said, what is it? 2.5. A fraction of a dimension. A fractal geometry. And a fractal geometry is in between those units that Euclidean had. And a fractional geometry, and I love this, is based on an equation, listen to this, simple, where you solve the equation and you get an answer. And then what? You take the answer, you put it back into the equation, solve it again now. And you get another answer. And I say, what do you do? Take that answer, put it back into the same equation, solve it again, get a different answer. And you can repeat this and repeat this and repeat this. And you can do it 1,000,000 times. I say, if you plot on a piece of graph paper or on a computer, what is the result of using the same equation and repeating it and repeating it and repeating it and repeating it? You get a repetition of the structure. At a lower level, at a medium level, at a higher level, the same patterns keep showing up. Why? You're using the same equation over and over again. Nature is a fractal image. If you take a fractal equation and put it into a computer and solve it, you'll get a fern plant, you'll get a snail, you'll get a tree. I say, oh my God, fractal geometry gave us nature. I go, yeah. Fractal geometry is where nature comes from, not Euclidean, not the house that you built. Nope, nope. I go, so why is this important? Because you brought it up. As above, so below. And I go, that's not a New Age suggestion. That is a geometric fact. It's a fact. Why? Because in a fractal, you repeat the pattern over and over and over a million times. And that if you look at the structure repeats itself over and over. But it's the same at the small level, at the medium level, at the large level, same structure. As above is the same structure as is below. And all of a sudden it says, well, then what does that mean? I say, well, if you want to study a human, do I have to study the whole human? I go, no. I could study a cell. Why? A cell has all the functions of a human: respiration, digestion, muscle contraction, excretion, reproduction, immune system in single cell. A cell is a miniature human. So guess what? It's a fractal. If you understand how cells work, you understand how humans work. Why? We're made out of cells. And if you understand how humans work, then you understand how humanity works, because humanity is made out of all of us. We are the cells in the bigger structure. So I can understand how cells work, and that's our biomedical research. I apply that to humans. That's things we've been talking about right here. And I say, and you can take that information and say, this is where human civilization has to go. It has to create the community, because a body is a community of cells. Okay? A cell, like amoeba, is actually a community of bacteria that have learned to live under one skin. Okay? And so the bacteria form a community, that's a cell. Cells form community, that's a human. Humans are cells in the next level, the bigger one called humanity. Yeah. And right now, there's an unfortunate part about our human community, and that is this: we're killing each other.
Autoimmune disease.
Okay. Self-destruction. And that's happening in the outer world. And interestingly enough, it's one of the main problems of disease on the inner world. That what's happening in the vibration in the outer world is affecting the vibration on the inner world. And autoimmune disease occurs when your cells are killing each other. And autoimmune disease occurs when humans are killing each other. Same story, as above, so below. And all of a sudden it says, well, then what do you want to do to make heaven on earth? I said, look at the community of 50 trillion cells in your body. I go, why? Because if you're happy and you're healthy, then 50 trillion citizens are sharing in all that happiness and health. And we can't do that with a few billion people on this planet. We're self-destructive. We're doing autoimmune on a big level out here. And this is why, again, I like to be on your show, because I know that your information that you just brought up, because you want to talk about it, it's information that's valuable to the audience, and that your podcasts are extremely valuable to the audience because they offer knowledge, and knowledge is power. And you felt that you've been a victim all your life, when now we tell you you're the creator of all this, then all of a sudden it's you're damn right you're powerful. You're manifesting. You don't like what you're manifesting, change the program. And that's where we started.
And we're going to end on a powerful note, Bruce. We have a final segment on the show called The Final Trio, which I ask at the end of every podcast. Before that, you've mentioned your website. Where else would you send everyone to connect with you and learn from you even deeper?
Well, we have a YouTube channel, which I really love because we make a lot of fun videos. A lot of them dress up and play different roles and characters and make little short movies with a story about what's important. So it's called edutainment. You can laugh and learn at the same time, and that's what our intention is. So YouTube channel, got a lot of videos on there. And I think this is it. And it's that information on brucelipton.com. Most of it is freely downloadable. You can watch podcasts, video programs, written articles, all kinds of stuff, download. Why? You need better knowledge than you've been programmed with. You've been programmed to be a victim. And it's time for you to stop being that victim. But the way to do that is to have knowledge that you can use to create a different world from.
I love that. For the final trio, the first question I have for you, Bruce, is what is one ethic for an advancing human civilization?
It's interesting. I'm not a religious person, Emilio, but sometimes I pay attention to some stuff in that Bible stuff, but I'm not following it because that's not always my best story. But the last words of Jesus hit me in a whole different level when I realized how profoundly important they were. Because he said, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do. I want you to understand all of us should forgive those people that transgress against us, the people who created problems in our lives. I say, why should we forgive them? Because I say they don't know what they're doing. They're being programmed. They're showing you their program. Who they are as a spiritual entity. Are they evil as a spiritual entity? Nope. Their program has thrown them off. Should I hate them because they have bad programs? No, but I don't need to stay around them either. If you got a bad program, you go over there, I'll stay over here. But I don't have to hate them. I just have to look at them and say, geez, I'm really sorry that you can't experience the life that we all could experience because your program has taken you away from it. Forgive those around you, but doesn't mean you have to stay with them. Just recognize, don't hold them as a negative energy because you're going to be broadcasting that negative energy about them when you think about them. It's like, you don't want to do that because what you're going to broadcast is going to come back. You broadcast positive vibes, positive comes in. You broadcast negative vibes, it's only going to activate something that resonates with negative. You don't want that. So that's why we say, change your thoughts.
Yeah, change your thoughts. And for the second question, it's really tied to that because what if everyone in the world changed their belief about there is an existence of the afterlife? What would change?
The biggest fear that humans have, and only humans have this fear, is the fear of death. No organism other than humans on this planet know they're going to die. And I say, so what does that do? Fear has made us afraid. When we operate from fear, we give up our power because fear, remember, stress hormones shut off the thinking. I become a victim. If I'm in fear, what do I want? I want somebody to rescue me and save me. And I go, do you trust those people that you have just given your trust to, that they're going to rescue you and save you? I go, I don't. I don't expect my government to really help me. I know my community will help me, but I don't trust the government to help me. I don't trust the church to help me. Why? It's a business of spirit, man. First they scare you, you're going to go to hell, and then they want to sell you the ticket to go to heaven. And I go, that's a bunch of BS as far as I'm concerned, okay? And so the reality is, what if you weren't afraid to die? Which I'm not. Why? Because I didn't do it through devotion, man. It had nothing to do with it. I did it through, oh my God, the cells showed me. The cells have an identity, but the identity is not in the cell. It's a broadcast. So who we are is not the cell. Who we are is the broadcast. I go, oh, the broadcast is there forever? Yep. Can it die? Nope. Okay, then enjoy this life and come back again. That's the story.
Bruce, this last question is called the time capsule question. We ask at the end of every show. And I'm going to give you a little scenario real quick. This question encourages us to travel about 15, 20 years into the future where my generation, the younger generation, will be stepping into leadership positions all around the world. And if I gave you a time capsule and I told you, there's going to be a moment where these leaders are all gathered in one place and your time capsule is going to be there. And they're going to be opening up different time capsules to equip themselves with the tools that they need to carry out the new earth and the new consciousness. And they went up to your time capsule and they were to open it. You can include anything that you wanted there. It doesn't have to be physical. It could be a frequency, a book, a transmission, whatever you want to include in this time capsule, but they will get bombarded with that frequency once they open your time capsule to be able to lead into the new consciousness. What would you include in there?
I would include the things we just talked about today. I would include the fact that the world of quantum physics reveals that we are creators. If we are creators, then you have to ask the question, then if we're creators, why are we creating this mess? And if you answer that question, then you start to recognize we were programmed to create that mess. And then I say, then what can you do? And I say, we changed the program. And then what? And I say, well, in my case, I've only been on a honeymoon 28 years in a row. I've been in love every day. I don't even get angry anymore. I haven't been angry for years. I don't know how long it's been. Why? I can see how it's working. If I get angry, I lost control. And I don't want to do that. And I say, so there's information. Information in this case is knowledge. And if you apply this knowledge, you can get out of this kind of crapped out world and start living in a world that you create, that is happier and healthier and more enjoyable than anything that you have on the outside world right now. And if we all start creating that, then the outside world becomes that. If I say it's heaven on earth and everybody starts living as if it's heaven on earth, and guess what? It is heaven on earth. So don't wait to die and go to the other place. Create it now. And that is the message.
Bruce, brother, it's always an honor, a pleasure to be here with you. For me, I would love to continue for the whole day if we could. And I'd love to continue our conversations, brother. It's always just enlightening to hear you. And I feel like even the repetition, knowing your information coming through multiple times, it starts, that seed begins to sprout. And it becomes a tree. And when people begin to really tune into what you're actually saying beyond the words, because what you're doing is you're giving a transmission. This is things that you have equipped yourself within your energy field. So I really just invite people to receive it with an open heart. I receive it, brother. And you're such a light to this world. I appreciate you so much.
Well, it's mutual experience, Emilio, because the idea is knowledge is power. And if people don't get knowledge, then they're operating from misinformation, and misinformation is self-destruction. And therefore, I appreciate every bit of effort on your part to say, I'm not going to just put up with this shit. I'm going to do something. And that's what it takes for all of us, all the listeners out there, to start saying, wait, I got to do something. It's not passive. Evolution is something you have to participate in. It's not going to be you sit in the room and one day evolution occurred. I go, no, evolution occurs when we all work together. And so I just wanted to acknowledge again how much I appreciate your work, because you're helping educate a population. And my insight about them, they're the ones of the future. And they have to understand, yeah, it doesn't look great right this minute, but guess what? You are the future, and the future could be so different on this planet. So listen to Emilio and listen to his show. Get that knowledge. Create heaven.
Much love, brother. Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you all you creatives out there. Looking forward to a better world with you. Thank you.
Until next time.